Today I will explain how to make several workers pull the same rope comfortably. And it's not as trivial as you may think, especially not if you want to do that all day long. Hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have finally got a microphone that should help increase the sound quality of my videos. If you're absolutely new to this channel, I highly recommend you watch all the previous episodes first, or otherwise you may have a hard time to fully understand the content of this episode. You can easily do that by clicking on the link that should be somewhere there and go to the playlist. So let's get to number 3 of the main questions. So, how do we attach the workers to the rope? A quick and somewhat intuitive option might be to simply put the rope over the shoulder and pull it with your hands, like this. But that's already a bad idea if you just want to pull something horizontally, because all the force you can apply to the rope has to go through your hands and arms. You can lean a bit forward to use some of your weight, but that additional force also has to go through your hands and arms, so they become the limiting factor. And this style becomes a very, very bad idea if you want to use it on a steep slope like we have to, because if you use your grip for whatever reason, it will become pretty unhealthy. So what do? We take a rope of some 5 meters, put a fixed loop into one end and tie the other end to the main rope. Then we slip into that loop and wear it across our chest like the safety belt in your car. From above, it would look like this. The Egyptians used a lot of sailing vessels on the Nile River. It was their main means of transport for medium and long distances. As a sailor, you must know a knot for each and every situation and purpose on the ship. Otherwise, you can't safely operate the ship. Sailors of the world combined have invented usually more than half a dozen different knots for the same purpose. So I don't know which knot the Egyptians would use for our little setup, but I know for certain that they knew a knot. I would use a bowline for the loop and a stopper knot to attach to the main loop. Both knots are quickly and easily tied, and the stopper knot comes with a bonus. When there is no load on the loop, you can shove that knot up and down the main rope as you like for adjustment. If you think that our setup looks pretty uncomfortable, you are right. But if you have to wear that loop all day long, every workday, for several years, you have more than enough time to think about a better solution. So the first improvement would be to use a different knot for the loop. Fun fact, a bowline in German is called Palsteg. So a doppelter Palsteg should translate to double bowline, but it doesn't. In fact, it's called bowline of the bite. It looks like this, and as you can see, you now have 2 ropes across your chest, each carrying half of your weight. But that's still not good enough. The Egyptians made ropes from at least 6 different materials, ranging from date palm to camel hair and several types of grasses in between. And because they didn't have cheap iron nails like we, In fact, they didn't have iron at all. They used ropes to bind things together, where we today would use nails. So they needed a lot of ropes. It was a thriving industry. If you ever had a rope made out of hemp in your hands, you will know that hemp is not very friendly to your skin. You can safely assume that the ropes used on the construction site were strong but cheap and rough. So you will want a layer of protection between the rope and your skin. Putting on a shirt is probably not the best idea in the hot Egyptian sun. And on almost all paintings and drawings, workers are usually depicted with a bare upper body. The next improvement would be to take a leather belt of some 10 centimeters, maybe add some cushioning on the inside. But unfortunately, I don't know how easily available and how pricey leather was back in old Egypt, but there's also a cheap alternative. As I said, the Egyptians used sailing vessels on the Nile. High winds sometimes tear apart sails. Then they are taken to the sailmaker, he repairs them, and over the years, at some point in time, they reach the state of beyond repair and have to be discarded. So if you can get your hands on such a discarded sail and cut away a piece of, say, 1 meter, fold it a couple of times, sew it together, and you have a canvas belt for free. I can even imagine a harness like you find on today's large backpacks with straps across both shoulders, a strap across your chest, a strap across your belly. Well, maybe that's a little bit too far-fetched, so I'll stick with the belts. They are good enough for us. We also have to consider how far away from your body you will attach the stopper knot. And here's why. When you are attached to the main rope and lean into your belt, your weight will apply a certain force to your rope, indicated by the red arrow, but only a part of that force will go into the main rope and thus pull the stone. With the other part, you will try to pull the main rope sideways, and as the main rope won't budge, you will have to compensate that part of the force by leaning more or less outward. So that part of your force is lost for stone movement. If you attach the stopper knot a little bit further away, say 2 meters, and apply the same force to your rope, a bigger part of that force will go into the main rope because the angle is much more shallow, and a smaller part is lost. But there is a trade-off. Because we are doing this on a slope, you will also have to climb those 2 meters more up to tie your stopper knot, and then climb down until you can lean into your belt. And there is a second trade-off. As you can see from the drawing, the further up you attach your stopper knot, the further your rope is away from the main line at the point of, say, 1 meter behind you, and that's where your fellow worker following you stands. So you're leaving less space for him. I think about 2 meters would be a good compromise, but I'm sure the Egyptians will have found the optimum by experience. So we can now arrange our workers like this, leaving a space of 1 meter to the next worker in every direction, and start pulling. But there's always room for improvement. If we have them alternate left and right every 50 centimeters, they could get closer to the main rope thus making the angle of their rope more shallow, thus producing more force on the stone, while at the same time leaving more space to the worker behind them. Nice. So that's it for today. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon, leave your thoughts in the comments, and most of all, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.